Michael Perlis, 28 jaar, woont in de Lower East Side in New York. Michael werkt als ambtenaar voor de stad. Hij is stedenbouwkundige. Hij kreunt onder de studieschuld.
I have about $132,000 of educational debt. When I graduated, I took an exit interview and it told me that to not be debt burdened, I had to make $203,000 a year, which will probably never happen. And so I was supposed to pay about $1,400 a month.
Just for student loans?
Just for student loans, yeah.
44 miljoen Amerikanen betalen studieschulden af. De afgelopen 10 jaar verviervoudigde de totale studieschuld. Het totale bedrag $1.615 miljard. Gemiddelde schuld per student $37.000. Michael leeft klein, ook al heeft hij een goede baan. De studieschulden wurgen hem.
I have a very tight budget every week. Basically, I get 2 paychecks a month. One paycheck for the month goes towards rent. And then the other paycheck has to last for basically a month. And that, for my utilities, for all my groceries, and for anything else. So I'm basically unable to save any money whatsoever.
Sana Bolger is pas begonnen met studeren aan Columbia University. Creatief schrijven is haar hoofdvak. Ze moet $50.000 lenen om de inschrijving te kunnen betalen.
So along with my 12 credits, which is a full-time student, I also work part-time. So with Columbia, the course loads are pretty intense. Per every class, that's about 10 to 15 hours of homework. So that's a part-time job in itself. So while working, doing that, thinking about, I have to make ends meet, it's definitely a challenge.
Sana hoopt dat ze ooit goed zal verdienen, omdat ze op de prestigieuze Columbia Universiteit in New York zit. Het maakt haar ook boos.
I don't feel like any student here should be having to struggle with mental health, finances, and studying at an institution just to get an outcome that may or may not happen. I feel like that probability is too low for the stresses that are put on all of these students.
Kevin Thomas is senator in de staat New York. Hij kent het probleem persoonlijk.
You have student debt as well.
Oh yes, I do. About $200,000 worth.
And what do you do with that?
I pay it every month.
Studieschuld wordt ervaren als een soort ticket naar de hemel. Lenen om jezelf te scholen. Toegangsticket voor een goed betalende baan.
We are in this whole spiral, this cycle, right? You're saying, all right, we want to help you achieve your American dream, which is for you to go to school, get a job, and then contribute to society. But in order for you to get there, we're giving you this loan. This loan is high interest. This is all we can give you.
These are kind of predators.
Yes. And we have to deal with them.
Michael Perlis heeft 5 verschillende studieleningen lopen, 5 jaar na zijn afstuderen. De rente bedraagt meer dan 7%. Hij betaalt ook vaak niet op tijd. De bank zit hem op de hielen.
They're really awful. I mean, they sort of stalked my whole family and would harass not only me and my father, who's a co-signer on the loans, but my brother and sister, who had nothing to do with these debts. They would call me during work. They would call my work phone. They basically do everything they can to harass you and scare you into thinking that if you don't pay these loans, they're going to sort of ruin your life.
I've seen financial companies monetize on the poor. All right? The quickest way to make money, what I've seen, is to provide hope to the poor and make them pay more than they need to in order to get a product. Student loans is one of them, car loans, credit cards, all of this factors in.
Intussen past Michael zich aan. De studieschuld hangt als een zwaard van Damocles boven hem.
Every time I pay for anything, it's basically sitting in the back of my head. just my debt, and do I really need to be spending $8 on this sandwich if I could just go to the grocery store and make my own sandwich and have food for the week? It's sort of always in the back of my mind.
Sometimes it's a stress to even go out for a coffee, to go to a party, because you're just worried about your obligations at your institution, and that's very difficult.
Kevin probeert via de politiek het systeem te veranderen. Oudere politici beseffen vaak niet genoeg hoe erg het nu gesteld is.
You have young legislators like me. You have AOC, you have a lot of young individuals who've gone through this, who have student loans, who understand this, versus the old guard that is still there, where they look at the young kids and say, why don't you just work harder? But they don't seem to understand that salaries have not kept up with the rise of tuition costs.
De exploderende studiekosten beginnen een hele generatie te tekenen.
Our generation are still living with their parents. They're still living in their basements. And it's just harder, a lot harder for them to get out of it. They're drowning. And this is the new bubble. We looked at the mortgage bubble, the student loan bubble it's even bigger. And we need to find a solution to this.